day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Eric Coffin. I'm here at the June 2022 Metal Investors Forum in Toronto. It is June 11th. I'm here with Darwin Green. He's the CEO of HighGold Mining, one of the companies that I invited to present at MIF. HighGold trades Vancouver under the symbol HIGH. Still can't believe a wee deal didn't take that first. And trades in the US on the QX under HGGOF. HighGold has been drilling a very high grade, really perfect geometry, sort of high grade gold base metal deposit in Alaska. They also have a very interesting, very large land position in Timmins, and they sort of go back and forth between the two of them. The two projects sort of gives them essentially a year-round season. But I mean, obviously Johnson Tract, I mean, that was, that's what generated all the excitement. That's what's allowed you to be able to raise money with not that much dilution. I mean, most of your raises have been done at significantly higher prices than where it's trading right now. But it's generated some insane drill intercepts. Now, you've been sort of, I remember when it was picked up, I mean, my working assumption at the time was that, it was what it was. The guys in the past had drilled it and announced that it wasn't going to get any bigger. I mean, as it turns out, you have actually found directions you can chase it in. It's not always exactly the same type of ore, but it's definitely getting bigger. And I guess there will be a resource like pretty soon.
Yeah, very soon.
Okay.
Yeah. What are we today? June 10th?
Yeah.
And, I told the market Q2.
Yeah.
So I'm running out of time here.
Yeah.
So I think that's the end of June, but we're pushing hard to meet that. And if not, it'll be just barely over it. We're getting close to it. Before that, we'll get some metallurgy out, which will help frame the resource.
Is it 1 year or 2 years of drilling? In
2 seasons. Yeah.
Okay.
We did the initial resource estimate in 2020, but it was based on 2019 and historic core hole. So this includes about 27,000 meters of drilling within that sort of greater resource area over the span of 2 years. So it'll be a meaningful update. We're looking forward to kind of establishing that mark right now.
And the existing resource before this upgrade was what, about 900,000?
Yeah, just under 880 or 884 all in, with about 80% of that being indicated and averaging about 10 grams gold equivalent.
Yeah, and one of the things about Johnson Tract it's impressive is, I mean, honestly, if you're bulk underground mining, I mean, the geometry, if you were going to design a bulk underground ore body, it would pretty much look like JT. I mean, it's subvertical, very thick, very high grade. It's kind of the perfect geometry for underground mining.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's the kind of geometry and shape that you would see people mining 2 grams underground, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people do mine down that. The average head grade, I think, for underground mines is often 4 grams. Our last resource, we used a 4 gram cutoff, which is higher than a lot of underground mines head grades. We'll probably go lower this go round, and we're using updated metal prices. So the head grade or the grade of the resource will drop a little bit, we would expect, but not in a huge way. And we're really looking forward to getting this update out. It'll be a moment in time too, right? Because it's still open, still growing. But it'll be meaningful time and a good time to take stock of where the project's at.
And you're about to embark on a big, 2022 summer program at JT, and it's maybe give us a bit of a thumbnail of what you're going to be testing, because it's important to understand, JT, which is the resource on the Johnson Tract project. It's just one small area. I mean, you've got a lot of other targets, and you pulled some pretty damn impressive core last year off a completely separate target, several kilometers away.
Yeah, no, a really good point. I mean, I think one of the things that initially attracted us to the project, above and beyond the existing deposit that we knew was there, was that it was sat within a 12-kilometer trend that had multiple other prospects that you could see. You could fly the length of the property. They're, big visible gossiness alteration zones. And it seen virtually no work other than the initial first pass reconnaissance surface work. There was one area that had a little bit of drilling. So our mandate all along was to go and start testing those. Last year was the first year we really had the opportunity to do that. And we didn't get to many, but one of them, as you say, we crushed it, it was plus 500 grams over 6.4 meters. Unfortunately, we didn't get those results back till the end of the season, so we didn't follow up on it. So this year's, first order of business is step out from that and see what we can make of that. We also really like, it seems to be linked to another prospect that's kind of through the mountain, that may project through the mountain. It's called Milkbone. and it's
And you think those two are probably part of the same system?
yeah. So what we found is that there's generally a sort of a time stratigraphic horizon where the best mineralization likes to occur, and what we've seen at DC is 4 kilometers northeast of our main deposit is it looks to be in the exact same host unit. For whatever reason, that's when things like to be mineralized, and so now we're taking at DC that same unit. It's fairly flat lying. At their main deposit, it's subvertical, but at our main or at DC, it's fairly flat lying. It projects through the mountain, and where it pops out, it's covered with some soil cover and overburden. That's where we're getting some very strong soil and boulders, it's float, so it's not in place, but we know it has to be fairly close by. Never been drilled, so this will be our first kick at that. And we're pretty, the grades we're seeing in those soil samples and the rock samples rival anything else anywhere else on the property. So odds are there's a decent bedrock source. So we'll be drilling that, concurrently with drilling at DC, and with a little luck, we can link the two systems between.
Okay. And now you've also got a discovery, and I mean Timmins is interesting. I mean, I've known, you and I've known each other for a while, and Crozius was in Constantine before, and it's kind of a very interesting project just because it was a small mine, but it generated insane grades. I mean, there's a bunch of really impressive rock from it in the Royal Ontario Museum, right? Yeah. Like it's really impressive stuff. But you also have, I know you spent a long time assembling property there, and you have big land positions covering a lot of the major mineralizing structures, the regional mineralizing structures in Timmins. And I think, what's your logic with Timmins? I know you feel like it's probably a little bit underloved because everybody kind of focuses on JT. But yeah. I mean, what's your strategy with having the two?
Yeah. Our overarching strategy from the get-go was to ultimately, have 2 pillars of value creation. Some investors like just a single story. My view is I like the optionality and the opportunity to drill something brand new.
Yeah.
And one of the toughest things to finance in the industry is sort of true grassroots conceptual type targets. The irony is they're the ones that generate the biggest reward in our business.
Yeah.
So I've taken the strategy of, hey, we've had the ability to raise some decent capital on the back of Johnson, and it's we're full speed ahead on that. We love that project, but we can't drill it in the winter now until we get underground there. So I've taken sort of 10 to 20% of our budget and dedicated to this grassroots type drilling, and in a camp that's a very established. So you have this odd sort of real grassroots kind of opportunity in probably the most brownfields district in Canada. It's produced over 70 million ounces. It's Canada's top gold producing region. And one of its biggest challenges has been, because it's so mature and been mined for so long, it's very competitive, and it's just a patchwork of different owners. It's hard to get a meaningful sized chunk of geological real estate. So, talking about the creases and in the Constantine era, we always wanted to expand that land position. We just didn't really have the mandate to do it. So we've done over 14 deals to consolidate around that former Crozius mine, which, they were tied up in old family estates. It was a variety of different owners. It took a tremendous amount of work, but we were able to do that while the limelight was really on Alaska. Right. And at the same time, we were able to start doing a lot of that targeting. So we didn't have a gun to our head to go out and drill it right away, but we're ready now. And this last winter was our first sort of kick at some of those priority targets. And we've made a new discovery. It's a lower grade discovery. We're looking for the high grade, but we also thought there was low grade opportunity. And it's actually pretty interesting new thing we found that we're pretty excited about.
Well, in Timmins, like you said, 70 million ounces, it's kind of famous historically as a, high-grade mesothermal veins. But I mean, really, it's bulk tonnage. For the last 10, 20 years, it's bulk tonnage is really what's kind of driving the camper. It seems
Yeah, and you look in the Abitibi in general, whether it's Detour, whether it's, Malartic, these big endowments. And we have one of those right next door to us. There's Manita, who have just, in the span of 18 months have grown, a few million ounces to 12 million ounces. It's really, really impressive what they've done. And immediately on trend from us is a deposit called Fengib. It's 2 million ounces. I'm sure it'll be 3 million ounces when they come up with their resource update. It's literally 1,500 meters along trend, along the same structure from where we are. McEwen Mining's Black Fox mine is just on the other side of us, 1,500 meters away on the other side. And, you know, we've got a big 50 square kilometer land package.
And you have to your knowledge, I mean, I know there's not a huge amount of outcrop around there, but you've got the productive structures and like you're kind of in the right
Well, exactly.
rocks.
You got
I
the
mean,
pipestone, you got the Monroe, we got the influence of the Dester Porcupine. You know, those are the big structural breaks that are your first order controls. And then you have what the Creases mine is. It's on something that comes out at right angles to that. We've really focused on that volcanic stratigraphy between the Monroe and the pipestone. And we like that geological real estate. We think it's a incredible exploration opportunity in that because of that fragmented patchwork of different owners, nobody really did the work for the last 89 years. I mean, there's pits and shafts all over the place, little small exploration things from the 30s. So yeah, I mean, we like it, and we're finally getting a chance to get a crack at it. And, you know, of the 7 holes we drilled, 6 hit, 50 meter plus of half gram type mineralization with higher grade subintervals. We got up to 136 meters of 0.54, 63 meters of 0.8. And if you stack that up side by side with what you see Minetta and Fen Gip drilling, I mean, some of their holes are hotter than that, but an awful lot of them are in that sort of 0.3 to 0.7 kind of gram range. And this is a system that we see is likely going to track right back into the pipestone. And, you know, who knows? Yeah. But all I'm saying, it's a good success out of the gates. And, you know, it would have been nice to deliver it to the market in a different market. Yeah. This market, everything's a liquidity event, but it's
true.
We are building that value. Now we're pivoting to Alaska. You know, drills are firing up there.
Okay. Well, there you have it. HighGold Mining, HIGH on the venture, HGGOF on the QX in the US. Very high grade in Alaska. Nice new bulk tonnage discovery in Timmins. Able to, work and generate news year round. Lots of cash. I know they're fully financed for everything they're doing this year and then some. Great story, great management team. Thanks for coming by, Darwin.
Yeah, thanks so much, Eric.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.